Welcome back. Now, the country's biggest single trade union, Numsa, has managed to clinch above inflation wage hikes in this year's round of wage talks without having to resort to strike action. Now, this feat is largely attributed to the organization's dream team negotiators. Business Day's political editor, Hajra Omarjee, joins us to discuss the players involved, what it suggests about the political landscape, and how it will benefit the economy. Hajra, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. And let's start there, just giving us insight on who's part of this, this dream team we talk about, and also zooming in on, I guess, the power they had in terms of bargaining, especially in this kind of economic environment.
I can't tell you the smile the story put on my face. My colleague at Business Day, Luyolo Mkentane, did a deep dive on all the successes Numsa has had in the various sectors, and I'll go over them in detail in a few minutes. But it seems like Numsa is focusing less on politics, which it's done in the last few years, and gone back to worker politics and finalizing wage negotiations in the boardroom. And what Luyolo found is they've had incredible success in terms of their chief negotiators, amongst them Vusimusi Mplamplo, Mduzi Nkosi, and Frederick Mabasa, who essentially led consistent, robust, frank engagements with employers in the motor sector, pharmaceutical sector, glass sector, plastic sector, amongst others, where they went back to the basics of what Numsa's success and in bargaining power used to be 20 years ago. Use the collective bargaining process, go into the boardroom, get the employer to open their books and argue that because of cost of living and the pressure workers have been under for the last 15 years, they needed above inflation increases. They managed to convince the employer in many sectors that ensuring there was no strike action, giving these above inflation increases would cause stability in the sector, allow them to focus on other things like increasing productivity and increasing exports. Luyolo found that in the motor sector, Numsa achieved a 6% wage increase this year. In the pharmaceutical sector, a 5.5% wage increase. In the glass sector, a 5.5% wage increase. In the plastic sector, a 7% wage increase, affecting tens of thousands of workers according to the figures that we have. So a back to basics approach, using collective bargaining, being honest and open in the discussion between the employer and the union leadership has yielded great success, and we've not seen this kind of worker leadership for 15 years now.
I mean, I'm also thinking of the severance packages that they secured for the Goodyear employees about a few weeks ago. And I can also imagine that the wage deals that have been struck also bring some sort of stability for employers as well, considering that they're 3 to 5 year wage deals.
But it also suggests that business is investing in South Africa, investing in workers. And I think that's where the BEE argument comes in. The DA is opposed to BEE because it has benefited a political elite. Broad-based black economic empowerment was meant to empower workers and communities where businesses were based. But it resulted in benefiting worker leaders under state capture, where they got to get the shares in companies. So I think this is a first step to the trickle-down economics approach of ensuring workers benefit, and that creates, some would say it has negative implications for inflation, but it means there's stability in the sectors, workers have more money to spend, and they're less stressed about their daily lives, so they can focus on the job at hand.
And at the end of the day, the money goes back to where? The economy. We know that consumer spending power is quite important when it comes to GDP growth. With that being said now, Hajra, you mentioned that Numsa stepped away from more of the political realm, but with these deals being sealed, I can imagine the kind of political sway they could have.
Well, I think Omarjee, Numsa's General Secretary, tried the Workers' Party and it was an epic failure. So I think he's learned his lesson. But I think there's a more important story here, and that is COSATU was amongst the first sites of state capture. And a little has been done to reform COSATU. And this Numsa Dream Team has delivered the first sign of reform we've seen that benefits workers in a long time. So there is progress. It brings stability within the government of national unity, and it brings stability in the sectors to improve productivity, increase exports, and hopefully will result in increased economic growth. We live in hope.
We really do.
We really do.
And just on the back of that then, Hajra, walk me through the dynamics then with Numsa, and I guess perhaps its dynamics that with the GNU. I do know that they do have a strained relationship with the ANC at the moment. There were a commentary around how they did not want the ANC to partner up with the DA.
Yes.
What does that look like?
Well, it seems to have benefited them, hasn't it? In terms of real money in the pocket,
right?
So I think it's evolving. I think the Numsa's problem with the GNU is that there isn't a proper alternative to the Democratic Alliance in terms of a leftist position. And they feel the Democratic Alliance and the Freedom Front Plus represent the privileged class, and the ANC is not adequately countering that because it sees itself as a broad church. So there is a need for a proper leftist party in the country, and I think South Africans have to decide whether or not that is MK or the EFF or Mayabuya Africa.
And that was going to be my next question, whether we might see with those local elections coming up, throw their power, Numsa throwing their power behind those leftist parties.
I don't see them throwing their power behind Jacob Zuma. It is under Jacob Zuma that Numsa got kicked out of COSATU. And we haven't seen any serious talks between Numsa and the EFF. We do have a new entrant in terms of a Labour Party, and that is AMCU, through its leader Joseph Mathunjwa, who need to be closely watched because they've been doing well in by-elections. And ultimately, the outcome of the local government elections will tell us who has the confidence of the electorate. I certainly don't see why the 460,000 members that belong to Numsa would not be particularly happy this year. It could be only be good for their recruitment.
We wait and see. Hajra, thanks so much for your time and just taking us through those dynamics this afternoon. And that was Business Day's political editor, Hajra Omarjee.